Hi there, my name is Renee Hobbs, and this is COM 410, Advanced Topics in Communication Studies. It's the fall 2014 semester in the Department of Communication Studies at the University of Rhode Island. And so welcome to our fully online asynchronous class. I am really grateful that Carlita and Sarah are joining us live, but other students are going to be watching us asynchronously, meaning they're going to be watching this recording after it happens, or they might just be finding their way here and joining us in a few minutes, and that sometimes happens, especially in the beginning. So tonight what I'd like to do is talk a little bit about the big ideas behind the class and why I'm so excited about it and why I think it's going to be a great learning experience for all of us. I want to spend some time where we talk a little bit about the work and the assignments and the expectations and how to do well in the class. And then I want to dive right into some of the issues that we're going to be exploring this evening. What we probably want to do is begin by going around and introducing ourselves to each other. And maybe the best way to do that is, at least at the beginning, to do a little name, rank, and serial number. But we could probably start a little bit with reflecting on what we love and hate about online learning. So I'll begin. I'm Renee Hobbs. I'm a professor of communication studies. My area of expertise is digital and media literacy, and I'm thrilled to be teaching this class because it's an unclassroom class. And that means that this classroom uses a experiential learning process to involve students in working on solving a real world problem. And from my point of view, that's a big part of what higher education should be focused on, so I'm thrilled to be able to do that in this online class. But I do have a love-hate relationship with online learning because I love the energy that happens in the seminar room, and I hate the Chi, and so this is my solution to, it's maybe a partial or incomplete solution, but this is my solution to my love-hate relationship with online learning. All right, who's next? Introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what we need to know, and then tell us a little bit about your love-hate relationship with online learning. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Carlita, you go first.
Okay. I'm Carlita Alves. Can you see me? I think I lost you guys for a second. Carlita Alves, I'm a junior, I guess junior senior at this point. I've returned to college after, 13 years, 13 years, so I'm just trying to finish up my bachelor's. I'm a comm major. I've taken several online classes since I've been back to school. Nothing like this, so this is pretty interesting. I'm excited to try different things with this. What do I not like about online learning? I guess for me, the issues I've had is just not being able to really communicate with the professor, and for them to not really know you as well compared to being in actual classroom. I think that's it.
That's pretty good. Anything about online learning that you love or like?
I do like the convenience of it. I'm a mom, so it is convenient.
Yeah.
So I do like that part.
Yep. Yep. Thanks for sharing. Sarah?
Okay, so my name is Sarah, and I'm a single mom. I have a 6-year-old son. So online learning is super awesome for me because I can have my child here and I can go online.
Right.
Like Renee said, I share the same love-hate relationship with Sakai. I don't know if you've done Sakai yet, Carlita.
Yeah.
I did my undergrad in comm, and a lot of mine was with WebCT.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's an older system, but it was super simple to use, super simple to utilize. So half of my bachelor's degree was online courses.
That's
But
awesome.
you're right. Unlike this course, I didn't get to see my professor. I only heard them on podcasts.
Right.
So I had like a voice relationship with them. And then I finally got to meet them live, and I was like, oh my God, you helped me out through so many things. I took a few of Renee's courses, and my problem with this class is I have 3 computers out and only 1 connected to Renee.
Oh no.
So I'm happy I'm here though. I made it. Like, that's all that counts.
So we're definitely going to have a little bit of a learning curve. We can see that tonight because there are 20 kids enrolled in this class, but 2 of you have found your way here, and we're going to hopefully that's going to get better. It's, of course, just Wednesday, the very first day of class, and so that's possible. And then the other things are this is a new technology, so figuring out how to make it work for you is always, there's a learning curve in that. Right. But one of the things that I love about online learning that I think we're going to get a chance to experiment with is that the new tools that make it possible for live video like this to be incorporated into learning really does help us have actual real relationships with each other, and I feel like I learn best understanding learning as a process of creating a shared relationship. I'm teaching this class because I'm a learner, and I want to learn more about digital learning in Rhode Island. I want to learn about that with you, and I want to share what I know about that topic. But I also want to experiment how we can make an online experience as meaningful as the face-to-face experience. And I'm not sure if that's possible or not. I guess we'll consider this class an experiment. Yeah. So if you've gotten this far, it's probably because you've found a way to the website. And so I want to share my screen with you and see if you can see my screen to find the class website. And I'm wondering, are you seeing it on the screen, the class homepage?
Yep.
Good show. So the class homepage really is our base camp for the work that we're going to be doing in this class. And every week a new box will appear. This is the box for September 3rd, and we'll be doing the work inside this box this week until next Wednesday. And next Wednesday a new box will pop up, and that'll be the work that we do for the next 7 days. But I do want to call your attention to these pages of the website here at the top, especially the Why Take This course. It's really exciting to have an advanced undergraduate course like this that really invites students to kind of simulate a workplace environment. And that's a big part of what we're doing with this kind of unclassroom. We're exploring the topic of digital learning with a real client. And that creates a different kind of class opportunity. One thing that was pretty exciting for me to see is that and now Sarah, I see your name is not here. And Carlita, I'm looking for you. Are you here? Yes, there you are, right there at the top. Good show. So it looks like one of the students in this class has already started the work by creating her web page. Welcome, Brianna Tutelo. Even though you're not in our Google Hangout tonight, you have created a web page. You have created a Twitter account to experiment with Twitter, and you've used the COM410 hashtag to let me know you're here. And you've also created an About Me page on your website so that I can learn about you. And hold on here. Let me just see if I can get that to work here. Where's her About Me page? Oh, I got to scroll down to see. Brianna's we like to call her B, and she's a student. She's majoring in communication studies. She's got 5 years experience working in a fast-paced, high-energy environment where she executes large-scale events. So we're really delighted that, Brianna, that you're joining us for this class. So the class roster is where we'll be able to see you and the progress you make in the work products you produce for this class. Let's take a look at the learning outcomes that are part of this class. I'm going to try to make that a little bit larger so that you can actually see it. What happens if I go like this? One of the things you guys might be trying to experiment with if you're watching me live is to go to this page yourself and maybe keep 2 screens open. That's a cool technique. I'm doing that all the time. You're probably using multiple screens in your life. I'd like to ask Sarah and Carlita, as I read through these list of learning outcomes, for you to identify which of these learning outcomes are most important to you and which of these learning outcomes aren't that important to you. So if you can, as I read aloud these learning outcomes, think about one that is really important to you and one that isn't that important. We can talk about that after we review them. So these learning outcomes are expected for every participant. You're going to gain current and timely knowledge of the role of digital media and technology in education at the local and national levels. Number 2, you'll understand the strengths and limitations of digital learning as it is currently practiced and its potential contribution to innovation in American public education. Number 3, identify the needs, drives, interests, and fears of a target audience and use creativity to promote information that influences knowledge, attitudes, and beliefs. Number 4, strengthen research and collaboration skills through activities that require the synthesis of divergent ideas, information, and concepts. Number 5, advance communication skills, including interviewing, writing, performance, and media production skills that require creativity and professionalism. Number 6, gain problem-solving skills in identifying client needs, project management, focusing the scope of an inquiry, establishing goals, and executing under tight deadline pressure. Number 7, you'll gain skills in using digital tools, texts, and technologies, including social media for learning, collaboration, communication, and advocacy. Number 8, you'll reflect on how changing media and technologies reshape information, education, and society. And finally, you'll appreciate the role of leadership and advocacy in helping create equitable access to educational innovation. So, reflecting a little bit on that list, which of these learning outcomes is most meaningful to you, and which of these learning outcomes would you kind of put at the bottom of the list?
I lost it.
That's a hard choice. There's so many good ones.
I agree. I'm like, this one's important. This is important. I definitely would say 5 and 6. Those 2 stood out for me.
Why?
But I can't find them, so I can't go back. I'm trying to find it on there. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see if I can go back to it.
There we go. Here, I'll put them up here on this page.
Okay. All right, great. So I guess advanced communication skills, including interviewing, writing, performance, and well, because that's just something it's just going to happen now. It's just something that's going to be expected for you to know and to be able to do it without thinking, oh my gosh, I'm on camera, or if I have to do something like this. Like one of my jobs, we started. We were in 2 different locations. So one of the places was in Rhode Island, the other was in Connecticut, and we started having to use webcam and stuff like that to communicate, and it was really awkward in the beginning. You don't know where to look. You're used to looking at someone with eye contact, and it was like, where do I look? Do I look at the camera? Do I look in the, So it was just a little awkward. So I mean, just learning to be able to do that and communicate with people. We even started interviewing people via webcam. So that's just something that is really important for me, I felt, to learn. And then the other one, what was it though? I think I lost it again.
Put them back up. There they are again.
Oh, there we go. And then, yeah, I mean, when it comes to a work environment as well, to be able to identify client needs and project management, I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, for a workplace environment, that's pretty cool. Now, if you were to put one at the bottom of your list, Carlita, like you got to rank order these, and by definition, one's going to rise up and one's going to rise down. What's the one that's like you're thinking,
on changing media and technology. I don't know. Appreciate their role, leadership and advocacy. I guess for now, because I'm not really sure of how it's working as far as leadership and advocacy for digital learning, I would say that one, but I assume that nowadays it is becoming more prevalent and important. So I'm just taking a shot in the dark. I'll say that for now.
Good point. So in a way, you have a question mark around that one because it's sort of like, well, what does that actually mean?
Yeah.
What does that look like in different contexts or situations? That's a great point. Really, we're not exactly even sure what that might involve.
Right.
But for you, when you're looking at the list of learning outcomes, which ones seem most personally relevant to you and your career, and which one would you kind of say is like least important or least relevant?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, a lot of these are so important to me because right now my interest is digital literacy. But I liked 1 and 2 the most, I think.
What?
I like the fact that it says gain current and timely knowledge because with digital media, I feel that it's revolving and revolutionizing so fast. Like, how do you really stay on top of it? You know what I mean? It's like a dynamic thing. It changes all the time. And at local and national levels, I really like how that's worded.
Mm-hmm.
Understand the strengths and limitations of digital learning. I like that because there are strengths and limitations, and I think those are very important characteristics of understanding digital learning and how to make it successful based on their strengths and limitations.
Wow, nice. And if you were going to put one at the bottom of the list that's like least important to you?
I would say number 6, only because I worked in a professional environment where I'm used to that. So to me, I feel like I already have problem-solving skills because I was like kind of thrown into that, especially with tight deadlines. I don't really get under pressure. So
yeah. Nice. So for you, the idea of it being a workplace, an opportunity to gain workplace skills, given that you were in the workplace for 10 years already, that's less important to you. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I feel like being able for us to look at how every activity that we do in this class kind of ties back to that list is going to be really important. So if you're ever wondering, like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? It should tie back to those goals, and we'll reflect on those goals at different points in the semester to make sure that the learning experience is really capturing that. But now I'm going to take you back to the website, and we're scrolling. If you're ever finding yourself wondering where you are, like what I like to do is just click on this box here with the logo, which takes us back to the home page. So let's see. We did learning outcomes. Real-world connections. One of the things that's really cool about this class is that this class is designed to prepare you for any number of careers and professions that involve real-world skills of problem identification, research, analysis, synthesis, and creativity. By definition, each of you is going to have the opportunity to develop these particular skills. Organizers are going to exercise skills of time, task, and project management, and develop leadership and collaboration skills, making sure that we get our work done in a timely way and that we meet our goals. Researchers are going to identify and understand the needs of a target audience and gather information through research and synthesize information, basically about the social and educational practices of products and people associated with digital media and technology and learning in the state of Rhode Island. That's our focus area. And creatives are going to imagine ways to express ideas through creative multimedia using print, visual, sound, and digital media, and learn how to use a variety of communication strategies that attract and hold the attention of the target audience. One of the things that's really important for us to think about is, as an unclassroom, our client, let's see if I can go back here to, there we go, I'm going to go back to voice. Our client this semester is Dr. Deborah Gist. He's the commissioner of the Rhode Island Department of Education. So she is the chief government official responsible for elementary and secondary education in the state of Rhode Island. For the past 5 years, she has been guiding the state of Rhode Island through a pretty intense period of transformation. And if you went to school in Rhode Island, you know but things have changed a lot in the last 5 years under her leadership. She has got a colossal challenge ahead of her. This year, in 2015, in the spring, she's been charged with writing a strategic plan for Rhode Island's education future. And that's a pretty awesome enterprise, basically laying out a roadmap of what goals she will identify for improving the state of Rhode Island's education system to meet the needs of all the children and young people in the state. And she's asked us to help in this process. So we're really proud that this Unclassroom class has Dr. Deborah Gist as our client. She's identified that digital learning needs to be an important part of Rhode Island's future. In fact, just about a week ago, she made a very bold claim, it was reported in the Providence Journal, that Rhode Island will be the first state to completely integrate a concept called blended learning. Blended learning happens when both face-to-face instruction and digital learning are incorporated inside a public school environment. But Deborah Gist also knows that right now the level of public awareness about digital learning is kind of low. Many Rhode Islanders, when asked to define digital learning, well, they might not even know where to begin. Because, truthfully, many of us never had digital learning in elementary or secondary school. That's certainly the case for me. So why don't we do a little reflection in terms of what do you think of when you hear the phrase digital learning? And what was your earliest memory of digital learning when you yourself were in school? So what does digital learning mean? When you hear that phrase, what do you think about? And what's been your experience with digital learning?
Well, I'll go. For me, I guess it would just be using a computer, and that's what I think of automatically. And I guess for me, I want to say it was like, maybe it was elementary school, definitely. And I want to say it was like the SRAs or something like that. And we used to do like reading, and I feel like I can't, like as far as I can remember, I believe we used to go on computers, and it was like mind-blowing, you know, this is in the 80s, so it was mind-blowing, you know, and it was like, oh, we can get like feedback and things like that. So that's what I can recall as far as digital learning goes.
Using the computer and the SRA, and it would give you feedback, and that was, in the 80s, that was pretty thrilling. Sarah, what do you think of when you hear the term digital learning, and what are your earliest memories of digital learning?
Well, I was introduced to digital learning last year by being in a course. So when I didn't have a computer, the typewriter was the earliest digital thing I had in high school.
And that was not digital. If it was a typewriter, it was, oh, maybe it was electric.
It wasn't even like plugged in. I don't know. It was crazy. So it was digital to me. I've just jumped on board, and I'm trying to speed up my learning pace because I know how far this is going to go.
So
mine was very elementary.
Got it. So in elementary school or secondary school, you don't remember using digital learning at all?
We didn't. Not even high school.
Okay, so there you go. So in some ways, we're coming at this from a bunch of different kinds of experience in a bunch of different ways. And what's exciting is we have a real leader, a government official at the highest level of education in our state who's asked us for help. She said, help us increase public awareness of digital learning in the state of Rhode Island. And that's really the driving mission for this class, COM 410, Advanced Topics in Communication Studies. We're going to be working collaboratively to figure out how do we advance the knowledge and the awareness of citizens in Rhode Island about digital learning. Fortunately, we have a lot of friends who can help us. with that task. And so let's go back to the course homepage. We know why we're taking this class. We have a list of who's in it, 20 kids, hopefully. We've got some learning outcomes. We see the real-world relevance. If we go to schedule and syllabus, you can open up the syllabus here. And the syllabus will basically review all of the stuff that we've just been talking about. One thing that's really important right here is that I'd like you to order the book that we're going to be reading this semester. It's a book by Howard Rheingold, and it's called NetSmart. It's called NetSmart. Here, I'm going to put it up. How to Thrive Online. And I guess you guys are seeing this. Is it backwards or forwards? Is it weird?
No, it's right.
Is it right? In my screen, it's backwards, so it looks really weird. Howard Rheingold is a really legendary figure in digital learning, one of the earliest technology pioneers. But he's written a really contemporary book. This book was just published last year, and it offers in 6 chapters a very good overview of both the challenges and the opportunities that digital literacy pose for all of us at whatever age. Children, middle school kids, high school kids, college students, and then across the whole lifespan. So you can order this book at Amazon.com. I think a good paperback might cost you $14.
I just bought it for $4.
You bought it for $4? Good shopping.
I kid you not. And shipping together, it's $8.41.
Wow.
All right. Well, I paid serious retail for the hard copy, so I'm kind of jealous right now. All right. So first things first, buy the book, because in just a very short period of time, we're going to be using that book. So you saw how easily I downloaded the syllabus. I'm going to go back. I obviously made another copy of like the schedule of stuff and when it's due. I guess one of the things to before we go week by week through the syllabus. Oh no! I'm showing you behind the scenes here how I manage the website. Let me just go get this. There we go. Back. I want to talk a little bit about the assignments for this course, because I think that's an important part of any first week of class kind of experience, which is what are you expected to be able to do? What work do you need to produce for this class? So if you click on the Assignments tab, you're going to see that the assignments fall into really 4 categories. The most important stuff is the online class participation. That's worth 200 points of the 1,000 points for this course. Each week, students will be responsible for completing some digital media activities designed to support our shared goal. Some assignments will be required for all students, but you'll also have some choices as you experiment with representing your learning through various media. So in the beginning, we'll do a lot of things together, and then as the course moves on, you'll have some more choices. Twice during the semester, I'm going to ask you to write a reflective essay. Why? Because when done well, online discussion can be intellectually stimulating and build knowledge, but actually it's your job as the learner to reflect on what you're learning, provide evidence of what you're learning to share with your peers, asking questions, seeing patterns, offering feedback, and especially integrating what you're learning in the readings with what you're learning from the videos, from the Google Hangouts, and from the other media that we're going to be using. So twice during the semester, I'm going to ask you to write a blog post, quite a long one, between 750 to 1,500 words, where you really do this reflection on the learning experience. A third part of the course, and you can see that's worth 200 points. A third part of the course is an opportunity for you to interview a Rhode Island educator. Each student in this course will interview a Rhode Island educator who's developing digital learning in elementary or secondary school, and you'll create a 3-minute video that describes the work of that educator. Even if you've never created a YouTube video before, we'll scaffold you through it, but this is a real opportunity to strengthen your research and your interviewing skills, and these videos will be part of the campaign that we create to increase public awareness. And finally, the final project, it's worth 400 points. Students are going to work with a partner or in a small group of 3 to identify what they can do to increase public awareness of digital learning in Rhode Island. Each team develops a proposal that includes a statement of the problem and a modest scope of work that advances the goal, and after receiving approval, students execute that plan and post their work to a website, developing a final PechaKucha screencast to document their results to the instructor in the class. Now these projects, these final projects might take many forms, including a collection of professionally produced media products like press releases or videos or social media campaigns. Perhaps some of you will do a case study of specific schools or school districts or other kinds of work. So these 4 work projects allow you to essentially carve out some of your own expertise in this area. One of the things we've learned over the last couple of years is that there are Rhode Island educators everywhere doing really cool work. So some of you might choose to go interview Don Miller, the principal of Shea High School up in Pawtucket. He's created the Twitter group EdChat Rhode Island, which meets every Sunday night at 8 o'clock with the professional learning community of teachers who are interested in digital learning. So maybe you'll go to Shea High School and you'll talk to the principal, Don Miller, and you'll interview him or his students or his teachers. Others of you might hang out at the Narragansett Elementary School, where they're doing all kinds of interesting innovations in digital learning. Or you'll go check out the one-to-one laptop program that's happening in Cherico High School in Rhode Island, and talk to librarians and math teachers and history teachers who've given every kid a laptop in that district. Or you'll go to North Providence and you'll see the really cool after-school programs that are happening, or the Fox Point Elementary School in Providence, where kids are integrating digital learning there. There's just so much happening in Rhode Island, and it's kind of a pity that for lots of complicated reasons, lots of people are unaware of these exciting initiatives. So we have a really interesting semester ahead of us. Now that you've had a chance to look at the assignments, and I guess maybe we should do one more thing, which is we should probably just take a look at like when stuff is due, right? So I'm going to take us back to the website. Going to go back up to the main page. Going to take a look at that schedule. As I scroll down, we're going to be doing some reading and discussion for a while. The first reflective essay is due on September 24th. Then we move through the semester. By October 15th, I'm going to ask that you and your partner are going to create a proposal for a specific project that you want to develop together, and that'll be based on what you learn in the first couple of weeks of class. We have an optional special event scheduled for this semester. The Rhode Island Department of Education is offering an education technology conference. It's at the Providence Convention Center. This will be like a matchmaking event, because basically all the people we want to showcase or call attention to or interview, they're all going to be there, right? So it is optional, but if you have the opportunity to put Saturday, October 25th on your calendar, you will probably find it experience. On November 5th, your YouTube videos where your interview of a Rhode Island educator, those are due. And at the very end, we do these Ignite presentations, also known as a PechaKucha It's a 5-minute screencast, 20 slides, 15 seconds each, summarizing your work. And then after Thanksgiving, a second reflective essay reflecting on the readings in the second half of the class and how they apply to your experience. And your final project is due December 10th. Okay, that's a quick and dirty overview of the whole class. What questions? You guys have to have a big, awesome responsibility, Carlita and Sarah. You have to stand in for the other 18 kids who are watching this not interactively. What questions do you have, or what questions might they have that you'd like to ask them?
Well, it's funny, the first assignment, you know, thumbs up to Brianna. She already is up there about me, the whole thing. WordPress can be challenging sometimes, especially if it's the first time you do it. So I hope I can get the about me on there. And then the side Twitter thing.
Yeah.
You notice how her has like the Twitter? I've always wanted to insert that. So I'm going to need to ask my peers, or maybe Brianna, if she can help me put that in mine.
I'm really glad that you noticed that, and I'm really glad you're making that great point, Sarah. One thing that's really cool about an online learning class is that we're all learning from each other. And so so Carlita.
Yes.
What are your questions? Oh, and I see Bennett. Yo, Bennett.
It's a little loud where I'm at right now.
Okay. But you're here.
But I just wanted to check in for sure to make sure everything's going smoothly. How are you doing today?
We're glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And,
Oh, no problem.
and you'll probably want to catch up with the video for what you lost, but we're glad you're joining us. Carlita, when you look at the review we just did of the items that are expected in the syllabus, what questions, comments do you have about the work that we're going to be doing together?
First, I wanted to ask Sarah what the last thing she said. Did she say something about Twitter? I wanted to hear the question.
I did. On the WordPress, Brianna nicely had on the side a box that kind of was like a snapshot of her Twitter feeds.
Oh, okay.
And I'd really like to migrate mine like that because it looks nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea how to do that either.
I don't either. So we're going to have to ask Brianna.
All right.
Yeah.
So, questions. Oh, I lost it again. Where'd it go? You guys there?
Yeah, we're there.
All right, I'm just not seeing it again. I don't know what happened to it.
I'm going to go outside.
Okay, cool. So you're going to have questions as you go. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening for this week, right? Because that's really where we're going. And then new issues might arise as we walk through this. So again, I go back, I sort of scroll up here to the top of the page, and I always use that blue box. I click on that, and it goes to the main website. And I guess I'll make this a little, ooh, too small. I'll make it a little bit bigger, and I'll put it right there. When I click on Intro, Intro gives you list of activities the next 7 days. So right below here it says this week's activities. They're the things you need to do between now and next Wednesday. First, buy the required reading. So the required reading takes you to, and you can buy the book in a bunch of different ways, including as an app. So do that first, then read the syllabus. Right? So click on that link and read the syllabus. Now the next activity says, introduce yourself on Flipgrid by telling us a story about your own experiences with digital learning during your time in elementary or secondary school. Share your initial thoughts about the pros and cons of using digital text tools and technologies for learning. So let's take a look at that now. Tell me if you guys can see this. Can you see this?
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
Bennett, can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay, excellent. So basically, this tool is called Flipgrid, and it's a really cool digital. It's a really cool digital discussion board, and it works like this. when I click on this plus, I have to agree to the terms. I have to tell the computer to let me use the webcam. And then what happens is I get to take a picture of myself and make a recording like this.
Okay.
Hi there, my name is Renee Hobbs, and I'm going to tell you a story about my first experience with digital learning. But it wasn't in an elementary school or a secondary school. It was when I was an undergraduate at the University of Michigan. I was taking a statistics class, and we were going to use a computer to analyze the data. So we had these punch cards, which we kind of filled out and ran through a little machine that punched holes in them. And then we fed the punch computer at the back of the wall, and like you came back 4 hours later and you had your results. That was my first experience with digital learning back in the day, in the 1970s.
Woohoo! So what's really cool about Flipgrid is that Flipgrid allows anyone who has the link to contribute. This is your question down here at the bottom. What I'd like you to do is share your answer to the question there. Sounds like fun, right?
It does sound like a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's experience.
Yeah, it should be really cool. What really works about Flipgrid is if you watch other people's comments before you make your own, because then it really becomes like a class discussion, and it's just awesome. Now, the next activity that I'd like you to do is it's called How the Internet is Changing Advertising. Are you guys seeing that on the screen or no?
Yes, how the internet is changing advertising.
Okay, cool. So you guys are seeing that on the screen. I'm just checking to make sure you are. What I'd like you to do is watch the video, then using the Titan Pad, describe the key ideas from the video that were meaningful to your learning. Generate 1 to 2 questions that might help you use more. So I'll have you watch this. It's just about 4 minutes. But then what I want you to do, oh, and where is my link? Oh, I see my link has disappeared. Is right around here. Oh, there it is. Click here to respond. So this is a tool called Titan Pad, and the way Titan Pad works, can you guys see me typing now?
Yes.
Yes.
The way Titan Pad works is that you just start typing. Now, I'm gonna encourage us to use a little routine here, which is that since there's going to be like a whole bunch of us typing here, whoever goes up first starts with their comment, and then whoever follows up next, right? Carlita, there's your. I just gave you a little weirdness. But watch what makes this so cool is that, and again, I don't know. Can you see this?
We see your screen.
Yeah, cool. When you use this time slider, what it does is it allows you to see the whole thing, like you can watch me writing, right?
Yeah.
Is that cool or what? So in a way, the thing I hated about, let me just go back here. The thing I hated about Sakai was those stupid discussion boards. It felt so dead. And what I like about Titan Pad is that, yeah, it's just a page. It's just a digital page, but it really does feel like we're kind of in a conversation. And what's neat is to try to check back in on it and see, like I would sometimes start something and then I'll come back a couple days later and somebody will add something. It just becomes a little bit more like a real conversation. So I want to respond to that.
I have a thing about Titan Pad.
Go ahead, ask a question.
The last class I was participated in, I really loved the Titan Pad and the ideas that everybody had kind of like culminated and participated in, but I wanted to like save it and print it and make my own journal with it because I liked a lot of the ideas that my classmates had shared. So I don't know if I can do that.
What a great question. I think that's something we want to do some investigation. How would you save a Titan Pad? Thanks for asking that question, Sarah. I'm going to do some research and investigating. Besides just cutting and pasting, is there another way to save the Titan Pad for your own use? Thanks for asking that good question. I will look into that because I think that's such a cool question. Okay, so your second activity is this issue of how the internet is changing advertising. You can imagine that the reason why we're asking that question is that we're in a way going to be trying to increase public awareness about digital learning. We better darn well understand what's going on in the world of advertising and public relations in the contemporary landscape. Now,
For sure.
oh yeah, Bennett, you had a question.
No, I said they go hand in hand, so you have to understand one to, you know, try to promote the other.
Absolutely, and what's really interesting is this idea of we may need new strategies. So what's going to be exciting for us in this class is we may get a chance to innovate some new strategies for promoting digital learning in Rhode Island that are different from strategies that have been used in the past. So in some ways, I think that's one of the most, oops, what's going on here? I think that's one of the most interesting things about this class is that we can maybe try some stuff that's a little bit more non-mainstream to see how we can reach certain target audiences with the message about digital learning. Now, I want to go back to the last activity because if you're not using Twitter, you have to use Twitter for this class. So let's just do a little round table around. Sarah, are you using Twitter? And tell us a little bit about what your Twitter experience is.
I've had Twitter for a while, and like a few years ago, and I never really like paid too much attention to it. But I started to go in your classes, and now I'm like on Twitter all the time.
All right, so I forced you to use Twitter. Oh, I feel wonderful about that. Carlita, what's your experience with Twitter?
I have an account, and I've had it also for a few years, but I honestly have no idea how to use it.
Okay. Well,
You will find out.
But you're going to learn how to use it as a research tool.
Yes, I have a Twitter that I use for my radio show and my entertainment blog. So I'm all about Twitter. Everything Twitter. I do a lot of advertising for different agencies, so I'm like all about it. I love Twitter, you guys. You got to get with the Twitter.
Okay, so we can learn from you.
Yes, Professor Hobbs, I'm very sorry. I'm actually in New York right now. I had 3 interviews today on the first day. Yes, because I interview artists, so I'm going to be interviewing 2 more artists later on tonight, but my phone is on 5%, and I really wanted to check in with everybody to introduce myself and let everyone know that I'm very excited for this class. So I don't want to step out, but my phone's about to die. So that being said, I'm looking forward to talking to you guys, and if I have any questions about any of the activities or any of the assignments over the weekend, I'll definitely get in touch with you tomorrow.
We're glad you're here. Thanks for checking in. Good luck with your interviews. It's a great thing.
Thank you so much, guys.
Have fun in New York. We'll see you next Wednesday. What a sweetheart. Isn't he great? That's great. What a great thing. All right, so Bennett's going to be part of the class.
He tuned in with us from New York City, though.
I know, seriously.
It's awesome. Cool. We got to walk around with him on the streets of New York.
I know, like, where is he going?
That's awesome. Okay, cool. So in other words, we should be able to rely on Bennett for helping us get our Twitter skills up.
Awesome.
Your job, establish a Twitter account and post a message using the class hashtag COM410. Use appropriate keywords related to this course to search and find at least 10 people to follow, including your peers and your instructor, and that's me, Renee Hobbs. let's talk a little bit about what kind of keywords are going to help us find. We really ultimately want about 100 people. What keywords or hashtags are going to help us find the people who are most knowledgeable about digital learning in Rhode Island? Okay, so there you go. Digital learning, Rhode Island. But what other keywords might you try to find those people?
Like education?
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
Digital learning awareness.
Maybe.
Should we look up the commissioner?
She's big on Twitter. In fact,
Okay.
it would really be cool for you to see who is she following.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What other strategies will you use to find your network of people who can help you gain as much knowledge as you can about digital learning in Rhode Island?
Google.
All right. On Twitter, one of the things that's complicated is that people use a lot of different terms. And so some terms that are going to be useful to you are going to be blended learning, digital learning, digital literacy, media literacy, educational technology, computers in education, coding. So there's like actually a whole lot of different words, and over the next couple of weeks we're going to try to get up to speed on that. But your first project is to begin to establish your Twitter identity. It turns out that we'll be having conversations all week long using Twitter. We won't just be limiting our conversations to this 1 hour, 1.5 hour period Wednesday night. We'll be talking about this topic all week long, so anytime you check in at Twitter, I'll be sharing links and I'll be commenting to you, and hopefully you'll be talking back and sharing what you find. But number 5, the activity that I'm sharing next, is a pretty important next step. I want you to create a blog for this course, or you can use an existing blog if you want. Create a blog using WordPress. Actually, truthfully, if you want to use another tool, that'd be okay too. But create a blog. Create an about page that represents your identity as a professional communicator. And then send an email to me with the link to your blog before next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And if you need help creating a blog, you can watch this video, right? And in order for us to become more of a team, you can, this is optional of course, you can share your Gmail and your Twitter account with your peers so that we can form groups better. I put my Gmail account here. I see Erin Twomey. Oh no, that's from last semester. But there's the Gmail account there. So that will help us as we begin to learn from each other. If you're wondering about this class and you're feeling unsure about how to be an effective learner, maybe you missed this live session and you're watching this on video, you can click here and post any question you want, and anybody can answer. I'll answer, but other people can answer as well. So we're going to kind of use that space to help each other out. Now finally, I'd like you to read these 3 articles for next week. One's a short article, just published, what it really takes for schools to go digital. Next is a report from a think tank called the Aspen Task Force on the Internet and Learning, and that document's called The Network. And in your own notebook or in a Word document or somehow, of ideas that are helping you build your awareness of what is happening for digital learning in Rhode Island. So as you're reading, I'd like you to be keeping track of the ideas, keeping track of stuff that strikes your attention, questions that you have as you read, and those are things we'll talk about next Wednesday in this class. Okay, so now we've kind of suffered through the first day of class. What questions do you have at this point, thinking about the class and thinking about your work for next week?
I gotta organize.
Okay. Other questions or comments that you have? All right, we're probably going to have a bunch of students who are going to be watching this video and may just be having a heart attack that they weren't participating live. We're going to see if any of you might be able to join us next Wednesday, because it's way more fun when we have an actual live hangout. But for those...
Uh-oh, I think she got cut out.
Oh.
I guess we'll wait for her.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, Carlita, feel free to email me or whatever, because I have a little bit of experience taking one of Renee's classes.
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
Especially the Twitter thing. Like, I can definitely give you some useful hints, and like the WordPress. So my other classmates helped me, so any questions?
Thank you. I appreciate it, especially with Twitter, because I'm like, I go on there and I'm like, what do I do? I feel so stupid. I'm like, I have no idea.
No, you know what's funny is my sister used to laugh at me because I had a Twitter account, and she's like, you know, she would be sarcastic, but yesterday she's like, can you teach me how to use Twitter? And I was like, okay, you know, and she's just starting to get along, and I show her the little techniques that I might use, and I told her definitely, like, look at my page for ideas.
Right.
Because it's different. It's definitely a different social media tool, and it has, like, its own rules, like with the hashtag, and you can basically do whatever you want within the guidelines. Like, you can only have so many characters, but like she was saying, the hashtag, when we do hashtag conf10, it's going to indicate to her, like, we're all part of that class, and then we can all gather with that Twitter account.
Okay.
So that's kind of, anytime you submit anything, you'll always say, like, hashtag conf410, and then you can add any other hashtag you want.
Okay.
Don't worry, if you need help, you can call me.
I know. Don't worry, I'll be emailing you.
No problem.
I know, it's funny. I have 3 kids, and my 2 oldest are on Twitter, and they're like, well, really, my oldest is on it. And he's like, Mom, you got to do this, and you got to. I'm like, I don't understand it, and I don't have time. But I know you have to. You know, you have to.
You'll love that you're going to be challenged to use it, because you're like, okay, now I get it. And the whole thing with, like, the campaigning and public awareness, a lot of people who do, like, advertising and marketing, like, Twitter's their thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So we know who to call for public awareness, though. Bennett, he's our man.
I know, seriously.
I was like, where is he? He's outside. Like,
right.
I was looking at tall buildings behind him and everything, and I'm like, what is going on?
And I'm like, he's walking around. That's pretty cool.
I know. I cannot actually. I tried. Like I said, I had 3 computers. I have my iPad, I have my Mac, and I have my cell phone. So I tried to connect with my cell phone too.
Right.
But the only thing that worked was my iPad.
Oh.